For today's episode of Rare, we welcome Olivia Kager. And welcome, Olivia. So Olivia is currently the medical lead for the DACH region at Kyowa Kirin. And she has recently moved into a medical role, having spent a large portion of her career progressing throughout the commercial side of the pharmaceutical industry. And today we're going to discuss Olivia's journey and the growing interaction between the medical and the commercial fields. It's important to note as well that the views expressed today are Olivia's own and do not in any way reflect the views or the position of Kyowa Kirin. So welcome, Olivia. It's great to chat to you. Can you just talk us through your journey so far?
Sure, and thank you for having me today, Laura. So I'm a physician by training and added a bachelor in corporate management and entrepreneurship when I started working in pharma. I'm also a trained coach focusing on career coaching and authentic leadership with a special focus on women in business. And I would say my professional journey has been a mixture of planning, coincidence, spontaneity, and luck. And let me give you an example. So initially, I wanted to become an artist, a painter. The last thing that I actually wanted to do was study medicine, yet through several coincidences and being open to exploration, that is what I ended up enrolling in, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. I never did picture myself, though, working in a clinic or as an office-based position. So when I coincidentally met a former med student who had transitioned into the industry, I was intrigued and I decided to try it. So I started in patient services and then medical, and the thought of transitioning to commercial never really crossed my mind, yet that is where I ended up spending a large part of my career, and we'll get to that shortly. I've worked in different companies at local and international level in roles of increasing responsibility and numerous functions, ranging from patient services to medical, marketing, and sales, with the largest part of my career focusing on commercial roles in numerous therapeutic areas such as neurology, oncology, rare diseases, immunology, and transplant.
Great. And so what attracted you to the commercial space, and then ultimately what's brought you back to medical?
So as mentioned, I initially started my career in patient services and then transitioned to medical. After studying medicine, I felt that these areas in the industry would be the most natural fit, and it was important for me to stay close to the patient and the science. My transition to commercial came by chance, really, as I was offered a position in the oncology business unit of my company back then. And what attracted me was the field of oncology itself on one hand, but also the opportunity to continue to grow, expand my skill set, and broaden my knowledge by experiencing a completely new department within the company. Also, I'm naturally somebody who does enjoy learning, so just the challenge of entering an entirely new area in the business was intriguing to me. And the creative part that I had left behind was also somehow attracted to the possibilities of creation and commercial. On top, I have to say, very early on, I believed in developing transferable skills, and I saw the opportunity in being able to take different perspectives and understand the interdependencies of different departments. I then stayed in commercial for a significant amount of time, as I was lucky to be continuously given learning and development opportunities within the function. But that wasn't all. I was also fascinated with the strategic work of understanding unmet patient and customer needs and driving behavior changes to address these. I also really enjoyed bringing together the numerous cross-functional stakeholders to drive forward the strategy and visions of the brand I worked on, and the broader picture of how that work interlinks with the overall business picture and how it can ultimately drive organizational decisions and direction, and how companies function in general was another piece that kept me on the commercial path. What brought me back to medical was a very personal decision driven by how I perceive and understand the value that I can bring to an organization on a day-to-day basis. I wanted to refocus even more on the clinical, patient, and physician needs, and work as a conduit to translate the insights from external stakeholders and share them inside the organization to influence and ensure everything we do is focused on improving care and patient outcomes. I also saw just many opportunities to be part of shaping the patient journey in a positive manner, which attracted me greatly. Medical teams, I mean, they exchange with a broad range of external partners, engaging with physicians and multiple other stakeholders involved in the patient pathway, such as nurses, caretakers, or advocacy groups. And there's such power to the insights derived from these interactions. And they allow organizations to address current gaps and needs along the patient journey, but also to shape the future of care. And an example of this is the impact of patient insights on health equity. As somebody who's actively involved in diversity, equity, and inclusion, the thought of being able to drive health equity by leveraging the rich information coming out of the work in collaboration with our external stakeholders to essentially increase diversity in clinical trials and data generation, that is something that feels incredibly exciting. And I see it as a significant opportunity to drive meaningful change, and it's something that is close to my heart. And I would say just, overall, it felt like the right time to take the different experiences that I've had so far on my journey and really bring them back to my roots to shape and be part of what I believe will be an incredible future for medical as the function continues to solidify its strategic position in the industry and becomes a key partner in improving patient outcomes. And that is just something that I find incredibly fulfilling.
Yeah, thank you for that. And I'm also hearing a lot across the rare disease space of the closing gap between medical and commercial. So what are your thoughts on that, and how do you see it evolving moving forward?
Yeah, great question. Thank you. In the past few years, we've undergone a significant amount of change within the industry and the healthcare environment, accelerated by the global disruption brought on by the pandemic and resulting in a growing burden for our healthcare systems. Getting medicines approved is becoming increasingly challenging, and at the same time, market access pressures are increasing. And as we consider the evolving landscape that the industry is working in, and as we are adapting to the new reality and the new ways of working, we also need to consider the impact of all of this on patients, HCPs, and other decision makers in the healthcare environment, and reconsider how we approach them to meet their evolving needs and expectations. And with increased workload, global physician shortage growing, and administrative responsibilities growing, 80% of physicians are being stretched beyond their full capacity, limiting naturally the time that they can spend with the industry. Also, with the growing number of treatment choices and the shift to value-based care, physicians turn to data. According to surveys, around 59% of HCPs regard technology-driven recommendations based on data such as clinical trials and real-world data as the most popular factor shaping their treatment decisions. So there's an increased expectation for more clinical and evidence-based information. Further, as digitalization drives increased access to information, HCPs rely less on classical engagement forms for product information and look really to the digital space to learn, share, and exchange. And they use technology as an enabler for meaningful collaboration. So with, the limited time on their hands, they choose essentially when and how they want to engage and they seek more value from the meetings they take. They expect rapid responses and a seamless experience regardless of which part of the organization they are interacting with. And all of this points to the fact that we need to collaborate to a greater degree across the functions and fix the somewhat fragmented experience we are currently exposing our customers to. We really need to develop a more holistic and individualized or personalized approach to engaging and collaborating with our customers. And this requires close alignment. The only way to do this is really to break down the internal silos between the functions, drive more joined-up thinking, and continue to expand our cross-functional ways of working to provide comprehensive value along the entire patient journey to the customers we work with. And better collaboration will also drive a better understanding of our customers and enable us to make better decisions to improve the customer experience and improve patient outcomes continuously. And now, don't get me wrong, there is a need for a certain independency of these functions and their compliance and regulatory frameworks and regulations that we need to adhere to. But as the industry shifts to focusing on how we can deliver value, we need to become more open and more courageous in terms of how we achieve that by combining the best of both functions in a holistic engagement approach, tailored to our customers' individual needs and focused on patient outcomes rather than individual functional goals. And for that, we need to be agile. We need to innovate in a rapidly evolving engagement context and continuously reevaluate how we can optimize the experience for our customers and improve care for patients. And that will require us to continue to look beyond the borders of functions. And I believe this will increase as we turn our ambition to customer and patient outcomes versus internally focused ways of working and objectives. And making this work in a digital era of personalized engagement, I really believe is what will set companies apart from their peers. And maybe just as kind of a final side note, also as these two functions move closer and based on my very own personal experience, I do believe that it also provides an opportunity for continuous talent engagement, development, and retention as new generations learn a broad set of skills that will equip them for the future in a highly competitive and complex job market.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I'm seeing it every day already, so definitely agree with that. And thank you very much, Olivia, for taking part today. It's been really great to hear about your perspective on the evolution of medical and the commercial space. So I will include my contact details at the end of the post for anyone who has any questions for Olivia. But thank you so much once again for your time and taking part.
Thank you for having me.